Desert justice under a crimson moon. The sun beat down on the parched earth, baking the dust into a fine powder that clung to the worn leather of John the Judge Lawson's saddle. He rode into Redemption Springs, a speck of civilization amidst a sea of sand and sagebrush. The town clung to life like a desperate gambler to his last dollar, its wooden buildings weathered and scarred by the harsh elements. The judge's eye scanned the main street, taking in the familiar sights of a frontier town, the saloon with its swinging doors and raucous laughter, the general store with its barrels of supplies, the livery stable with its restless horses. But beneath the veneer of normalcy, he sensed a palpable tension, a simmering unease that hung in the air like the ever-present dust. He dismounted in front of the saloon, the swinging doors parting to reveal a dimly lit haven of sin and secrets. The air hung heavy with the mingled scents of sweat, cheap whiskey, and stale perfume. A sultry voice cut through the haze. "Well, well, what have we here? A stranger in town." The judge turned to face Mara, the Black Widow Dalton, her figure silhouetted against the bar's flickering lantern. Her voice was like a siren's call, alluring yet laced with danger. "Just passing through," the judge replied, his voice a gravelly drawl that hinted at countless tales of hardship and adventure. "Don't be a stranger, cowboy," Mara purred, her eyes locking with his. Redemption Springs has a way of making folks stay longer than they planned. The judge tipped his hat and moved towards the bar, his spurs jingling with each step. He ordered a whiskey and settled into a corner booth, his gaze sweeping the room. He spotted Sheriff Eli Two-Gun Tucker nursing a beer, his weathered face etched with worry. The judge approached the sheriff, extending a hand. "John Lawson, but folks call me the judge." Tucker shook his hand, a flicker of hope igniting in his eyes. "Heard tales of your reputation, Judge. This town could use a man like you." "What kind of trouble are you facing, Sheriff?" the judge inquired, his eyes narrowing. Tucker sighed, taking a swig of his beer. "Silas McGinty, the cattle baron. He's got this town by the throat, squeezing the life out of it. His men run roughshod over the law, and there's nothing I can do about it." The judge nodded, his jaw tightening. "I've dealt with men like McGinty before, Sheriff. They always underestimate the power of justice." As the night wore on, the judge learned more about the web of corruption that ensnared Redemption Springs. McGinty's influence extended beyond the cattle business, reaching into every corner of the town. He controlled the sheriff's office, the saloon, even the church. The townsfolk lived in fear, their silence bought with threats and intimidation. The Black Widow, meanwhile, proved to be a complex and enigmatic figure. Her allegiance to McGinty was undeniable, yet the judge sensed a flicker of defiance in her eyes, a hint of a past grievance that fueled her actions. The judge's arrival in Redemption Springs stirred the stagnant waters of the town. McGinty saw him as a threat to his power, while the townsfolk clung to him as a symbol of hope. The Black Widow, torn between loyalty and attraction, became a dangerous wildcard in the unfolding drama. The climax came on a moonlit night, the desert bathed in an ethereal glow. McGinty's men ambushed the judge outside the saloon, their guns blazing. The judge, however, was prepared. He moved with lightning speed, his Colt Peacemaker spitting lead and sending the outlaws scattering for cover. The final showdown took place in McGinty's sprawling ranch, a fortress of greed and corruption. The judge, aided by Sheriff Tucker and a handful of brave townsfolk, faced off against McGinty and his remaining henchmen. Gunfire echoed through the desert night, shattering the silence and signaling the end of an era. When the dust settled, McGinty lay dead, his empire crumbling around him. The Black Widow, her loyalty to her fallen lover shattered, disappeared into the night, her fate uncertain. Redemption Springs, freed from the tyranny that had held it captive, began to heal. The townsfolk, emboldened by the judge's courage, vowed to rebuild their community on the foundation of justice and fairness. The judge, his mission accomplished, rode off into the sunrise, a solitary figure against the vast expanse of the high desert. He left behind a town transformed by his presence, a town that had found redemption in the blood spilled under the desert moon. If you are enjoying Adventures in the Old West channel, hit the subscribe and like buttons for future posts.